everyone. Good afternoon. Hi. So my name is Mandy, and I'll be the moderator for this section. I think some of you already know me very well because some of you guys came yesterday, so have been seeing me for the whole day and probably get bored a bit of my face. So how are you guys feeling today? Good? Everyone good? Good? Yes? No? Okay, probably before lunch, I think. It's lunchtime. Some of you guys maybe haven't grabbed something to eat, so that's why. Very low energy. We have a food truck at the back. Feel free to grab things to eat. I don't mind if you have food at this area, okay? I didn't restrict not to have food at this area. Bring your food, bring your coffee and come over, okay? So, before I start, I would like to actually thank all of you that attending our sections today and attending our Malaysian Wood Expo 2023. I have people flying all over. I have people traveling to KL. Anyway, thank you guys very much for the effort, for the time to come all over. So, with us today, we have Mr. Peter Fitch, who is the Chief Executive Officer of IOI Palmwood Sdn Bhd. So, any one of you have any idea what he's going to talk about today? Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. Yes. Which is very obvious. It's on the screen. Yeah. He's going to tell us what is palmwood and why do we actually need it. So, are you guys ready for it? Yeah. Are you guys ready? But I'm not actually. Before I proceed to let Mr. Peter Fitch say anything, I'd like to do a little bit background, probably introduce him a bit before I pass the floor over to him. Is that alright? Okay. So Mr. Peter Fitch, though he's a UK citizen, has actually lived and worked in Asia for more than 30 years. 30 years is like, I'm only 28, but 30 years. Yeah, okay. So, Mr. Fitch is a timber industry veteran and was the past president of the Asia Pacific MDF Exporters Association, which is also known as APMEA, and is currently serving on the executive committee of the Malaysian Panel Manufacturers Association, which is also known as MPMA. Before heading up IOI Palmwood as the CEO, Mr. Fitch was the managing director of SPB, the MDF partition board and door skin producer, and director of Mata, which is the furniture producer for the Japanese market. So anyone have any idea what is IOI Palmwood Sdn Bhd doing? Anyone? Do you guys know what is IOI Palmwood Sdn Bhd? Yes? No? Anyone has the answer? I heard yes. You want to do an intro? So this Miss Pang says palmwood. From the name, we know that it is palmwood, somehow palmwood related, right? So obvious it's IOI palmwood. How can it not related to palmwood, right? So IOI Palmwood Sdn Bhd is the first large-scale palmwood manufacturing plant in the world. They convert unused oil palm trunk OPT into eco-friendly, sustainable, and high-performance wood panel for the furniture and building industries. I believe later, Mr. Fitch will be briefing us more about our Palmwood, which is his company. So are you guys ready? Are you guys ready? Yes. Okay, so let's go.
Okay, thank you very much. So, an absolutely excellent introduction there. Thank you very much, okay. So, how do I follow that? I think it's going to be very, very difficult. So, without much to do, we'll move on. So, this talk is self-explanatory. I want to talk about what is palm wood and why do we need it, okay. So, I think two very, very important questions that we need to answer. Whoops. So I think before we move on too fast, I think what I'd like to say is that palmwood is now the only truly sustainable raw material that we have in Malaysia. Okay, because We already talk about the deforestation in the existing timber forest, tropical forest, and also we know that rubber wood is also in decline. So in Malaysia, we still have about 6 million hectares of oil palm plantation, and most of those are certified to RSPO and MSPO standards. So we already know how to geolocate where each piece of the oil palm trunk comes from. So bear that in mind when I'm giving you this presentation. So I'd like to give you an introduction to IOI. Anybody here heard of IOI before? There's some smiles here. Ever heard of IOI before? So you know they're one of the largest oil palm plantations in Malaysia. They also do property development as well. So they're a multi-billion-dollar company. I think the market capitalization is about 25 billion ringgit. So not a small company. So I'm very, very happy to be part of the IOI group. So IOI Palmwood is a subsidiary of the IOI Corporation. So it was founded originally in 1969. We have more than 24,000 employees, and like I said, the capitalization is about 22 billion from last year. But what I'd like to point out here is that IOI also has a tagline on progressing on all fronts. So we don't want to just rely on looking at oil palm plantations and the creation of crude palm oil. We want to progress, we want to move forward. And IOI Palmwood is part of that journey to move forward. So again, I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but if we look at the purpose, vision and mission of IOI, I would say that IOI Palmwood is also aligned with those ideals of the purpose, vision and mission. But what I do want to point out is that the core values of the IOI group. A lot of you, maybe some of you who are from overseas, you often hear from the NGOs, from the EU, etc., that palm oil is bad, okay? It destroys the forests. We kill orangutans. There's no safety if you're a tribal leader in the rainforest, okay? We destroy your habitat. We plant on peatlands. We plant in mango swamps, etc. But I can tell you, for the IOI group, this is totally not true. Okay, we're very, very responsible, and we take ESG very, very serious. So in terms of our core values, we look at cost efficiency, innovation, excellence in execution, commitment, team spirit, and of course, integrity. So that just gives you a little bit of a background about this company. So let's now move on to IOI Palmwood. If we look at IOI Palmwood, it's a subsidiary of the IOI Corporation. If we want to get into specifics, IOI Corporation has 80%, I have 20%. That means that IOI provides the money and I do all the hard work. But it's a nice relationship. It's a nice relationship. It works. It works. Okay. But our aim is to create Malaysia's first manufacturing plant to convert oil palm trunks, or OPT, into eco-friendly, sustainable, high-performance wood equivalent panels. So again, we're not play here. We're looking to produce about 200 to 250 cubic meters per day. Okay, so this is by far the largest OPT wood panel plant in the world. Nobody else has ever done this before. What I'd like to do now is just play a short video which demonstrates what our company has achieved so far. So maybe I have to play here. Let's have a look. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that little presentation. So the video was taken last month. Okay, so we're still in the process of doing our commissioning and testing. But the other thing I can tell you is that we actually have a product which we made on Friday. So this was actually made on Friday of last week. So again, we really do have some material which is available. So like I said, this is a lamella which is produced, and like I said, we're doing about at the moment about 250 OPTs per day. We're processing about 250 oil palm kernels per day at this moment in time. So this is the end product. So we'll be edge gluing this and producing our panels. So if any of you like to pass it around, please feel free. Just watch the splinters, okay? But you're very welcome to have a look, okay? And if you want to see some of the products which we produce in the laboratory, then please come and visit our booth, okay? Then we have some samples that we produce in the laboratory ourselves as well. So maybe I start with what palm wood isn't, okay? It's a little bit bad to call it palm wood, but we need to call it palm wood because otherwise people will get very confused. Palm is not wood, okay? So it's more related to a grass than it is to timber or to wood. But if we said this is palm grass or palm panels, maybe people get a little bit confused. So this is why we're also separating out the description from palm wood to our branding. Our branding is Encore. So we look at this as a core material for building up other composite products. I see some of you smelling it. It's completely chemical and formaldehyde free. There's no added chemicals, no added preservatives, okay? The way that we look to preserve this material is by thermally modifying this product. So it's thermally modified, so there's no chemicals, no preservatives, no formaldehyde added. So it's a very environmentally friendly product. So what is palm wood, or what do we want palm wood to be? We want palm wood to be a new, high quality raw material. We want it to be innovative, okay? Because this product is still in its infancy. Even though we started our journey on looking at the R&D of this product about 6 years ago, okay, and we've come to this stage today, we still think that this technology is in its infancy, and we still have potential to develop so many new products as well, okay? So we can engineer this into many different types of products. We also think that one of the key attributes to this product is its sustainability and environmentally friendly credentials. I know a lot of you here, sitting here today, say, what's the price? I want to know how much it costs, okay? Yes, this is important. Commercial sustainability, commercial viability is critical, okay? But moving forward, okay, for the next generation, for this generation and for the next generation, is going to be increasingly important to look at sustainability and environmentally friendly credentials of this material. So what else has it got going for it, okay? It has excellent properties. It's extremely lightweight, but it's very strong. Okay, it's like reinforced concrete without the weight. So we have the vascular bundles in the palm, the natural vascular bundles in the palm, which act like reinforcing rods in reinforced concrete. So this is why it's very strong, especially in one dimension. But if we engineer this, we can produce structural products. At the moment, we're not looking at marketing or selling structural panels or structural products like glue laminated beams or CLT, but I would envisage within 2 or 3 years, we will have glue lam on the market. We will have CLT on the market, all made from palm wood. So this is our aim, this is our vision, this is our goal. It also has excellent insulating properties. So it's very good at insulating against the cold, heat, which is also very, very important as we look at energy saving within the buildings that we're producing. And it also has very good sound insulation. So when we're talking about partitions, we're talking about acoustic panels, we're talking about doors, okay? All have excellent insulating properties. And one thing which was a surprise, when we started the R&D on this product, we realized that these palm wood also has a higher fire retardancy, natural fire retardancy compared to natural timbers. So when we did the initial tests, which were just to compare an MDF, a particle board, a normal timber, and the palm wood, we found out that palm wood has about 1.5 to 2 times greater natural fire retardancy than normal timbers and particle board. So this was a pleasant surprise for us. So this is something that we obviously need to get third-party certification and third-party testing, but it's also something we're very excited about going forward. So what I'd like to share with you today is the products which we want to launch within the next 2 or 3 months. The first and basic product is what you see today, is the lumber core. So this is a solid wood panel, okay, which is a single layer, which is planed and sanded. So in terms of the thickness, we can do from 6 millimeter minimum up to 60 millimeter maximum. So I think between 6 millimeter and 60 millimeter, I think we can probably cover most of the requirements of the people who are sitting here today. So this is our first product, our basic lumber core. The next product we want to launch will be the block board. The block board is where we compose the different lamellas together to produce a panel, but we will veneer that with either a wood veneer or an MDF or other types of laminate, depending on what the customer's requirement is. The third and final product is our 3-layer panel. So this is a little bit more structurally stronger. So basically we have the core, which is going in one grain direction. Then we'll overlay that with a face and a back laminate, which will normally be the higher density OPT, orientated in the opposite direction. So in terms of structural strength, it should be very, very strong. So it'll be excellent for heavy duty worktops, desktops, and other paneling uses. So as I mentioned, in the future, we're also looking at structural products like glue laminated beams. So again, we look at what opportunities OPT can give us in terms of glue laminated beams. One of the other advantages of using oil palm trunks is that there's no knots, there's no cracks, there's no splits. It's very homogeneous. So when we want to engineer a structural panel, we can calculate the strength to weight ratio much more accurately than we can with normal timbers. Because with normal timbers, you also have to have a big safety factor for all the different types of defects and knots and other defects that may be in natural timbers. With this product, it's totally homogeneous. So we can calculate the structural strength in any direction very, very accurately, also based on the density of the product. So we believe that in the future we can look at structural glue laminated beams. And then another construction method which is gaining favor in Europe at the moment, but also in North America and Canada, is the use of cross-laminated timber, or CLT, for the construction of prefabricated housing. So we believe that palm wood, or encore palm wood, would make a very good core material for a CLT panel, CLT master panel, because it's lightweight, strong, but excellent insulating properties. Insulating in terms of sound, heat, cold, etc., etc. So we believe that this will be a good product. And then we can look at other panels like acoustic panels for home theaters, or even for workstations. So in offices, people also need to deaden the sound So for workstations and partitions in public buildings, etc., it can also act as an acoustic panel. So honestly, the ideas are limitless. We can reinvent how we use this material. It's really is an amazing material. So why do we need palm wood? I think I'm repeating what I said at the beginning of this presentation, but just to re-emphasize why we need palm wood, okay? It's because it's the only true sustainable raw material currently available in Malaysia. It's a sad fact that obviously we don't want to be extracting more timber from our natural rainforests. It's a sad fact that the cultivation of rubber is also in decline in Malaysia, so the availability of rubber wood is also in decline. And people may say it's a little bit too late to start developing plantations. So those plantations that are PFC or FSC certified, you know, it takes at least, well, minimum 7 years, but more likely 12, 14, 15 years before you can truly harvest any plantation timber if you were to start to plant today. But this material is available today, and it's in plentiful supply as well. So it's something that we can scale, and it's something that we can grow. It's also a unique opportunity to incorporate the unique properties of palm wood. So I mentioned that it's very strong in one dimension. So if we engineer the panel, then we know how to engineer it for the specific purpose of use. So if somebody wants it to use, if somebody wants to use it for a kitchen worktop, we know how to engineer it. If somebody wants to use it for making panel furniture, we know how to engineer it for their use. If somebody wants to use it as a core for a door, we know what we need to do. So we can engineer the product for all the individual uses that there may be. And also, this is not an empty promise, okay? We see ourselves as being able to potentially revitalize the Malaysian timber industry, because in Malaysia we still have a multi-billion-dollar furniture industry in Malaysia, and we don't want to see that disappear. And I think this is one of the products that could help to revitalize and sustain a vibrant Malaysian furniture industry as well. So hopefully the uptake of this will be good. And also it's a new source of income for plantations. So, you know, at the end of the day, to be commercially sustainable, it has to be a win-win situation. So there's also some revenue to come in from the plantation companies as well. And last but absolutely not least, it relieves some pressure on deforestation. Now we have the EUDR, okay, which is coming into effect next year, okay. Everybody's running around like headless chickens. What do we do? What do we do? Oh no, oh no, how do we get everything certified? Well, you know, this could be a way out, because palm oil is the most heavily regulated, certified commodity agricultural product in the world, okay? All of the RSPO, MSPO certified plantations geolocate every single standing oil palm trunk. So if we need that data, it's there. We know exactly where the raw material is coming from. It's coming from a plantation that was probably established 60, 70, 100 years ago in the British colonial times, okay? So you know, they can't accuse us of doing deforestation, okay? And we know exactly where the location of each of those oil palm trunks come from. So it's a good way to mitigate some of the pressures that we have in terms of the EUDR and any other regulations that maybe the state of California or even Japan may implement later on. And okay, this is just basically to emphasize that IOI as a company and IOI Palmwood as a business really walks the talk in terms of ESG, okay? We are really, really committed to the principles of the environment, social responsibility, and governance. The other thing I think which is important, and you know, people keep talking about, oh, what's the price? Okay, I mean the price is definitely important, but we're also committed to something else. IOI as a corporation is committed to achieving carbon net zero by 2030. But internally, within the IOI Palmwood Group, we're committed to achieving that by 2027. So internally, we have a more stricter target than our corporate target. So we believe that we can also become carbon neutral by 2027. So you may ask, how are we going to do that? Okay, how are we going to achieve that? So, okay, actually we talk about how we do that a little bit later on, but if we look at the strategic priorities, okay, obviously we're targeting to convert oil palm into value-added products. So this is the circular economy. We're building, what we've built now, a 20-acre plus factory in Johor. And the other thing which is also important, we don't just stop there. One of the key priorities for IOI Palmwood is to set up a centre of excellence. So we're going to continue the R&D, we're going to continue the research, we're going to continue the development of this product. So we want to be at the forefront of the development of new, better, more sustainable, more environmentally friendly, higher quality materials, not just today, but tomorrow and the next year and the next year and the next year, infinitum. IOI Palmwood wants to be the preeminent developer of palmwood, full stop. The other thing is that obviously we can scale the business. So we have almost 6 million hectares of oil palm plantations in Malaysia. Okay, IOI Group is one of the biggest plantation companies in Malaysia. So we also believe that once we prove the business model, we can scale. Okay, and as an investor, this is really, really important. Nobody wants to invest in any business unless you can grow, unless you can scale. Okay, so we'll be a first mover and we can scale. So, you know, remember this day. Okay, and of course we're looking at other new conversion technologies for our biomass, because oil palm plantations don't just have the trunks, they also have the fronds, they have the EFB or empty fruit bunches. Okay, so there's a lot of biomass which is available, and maybe there's opportunities in the future to develop those also. As I was saying, so we were talking about how are we going to achieve our net carbon zero, how are we looking at a circular economy. So if we look at IOI Group as a whole, we can't use the laser because it's an LED screen, but obviously these are the plantations, the traditional ways to use the fruits, and then from the palm oil mill produce crude palm oil, and then all the other oleochemicals, edible oils, specialty fats, etc. are produced here. There's also some byproducts, which is the EFB, the mesocarp fiber, and also the shells. For us, after replanting, we take the oil palm trunks, we convert those in our palmwood factory, and basically we sequester carbon, we lock carbon in our palmwood material. And this can be sequestered carbon for about 10, 15 years, or the lifetime of the furniture. But we also have some sawdust, we also have some waste material, and all that can be fed into our biomass energy plant. So we can also generate our own electricity, we can generate our own heat. Okay, we don't need to buy electricity from TNB, we don't need to burn oil, we don't need to burn gas. Okay, so these are very positive ways that we're quite confident that we can achieve our net zero objectives. So if we look at it from a purely business perspective, so what are the opportunities? The biggest opportunity is that we have 20 million replanted oil palm trunks every year. Okay? Every year in Malaysia we replant a minimum of 20 million oil palm trunks. So the availability of the raw material is tremendous. And unfortunately, currently there's an acute shortage of timber material. Okay, I know the market is down at the moment, but those of you who've been in the market long enough knows it's cyclical. Okay, when the market is down, it will come back again, hopefully soon, but I think certainly by next year. So, what are the risks? The risks is being the first commercial operation. So we have to put money up front. So there's a risk on the technology. There's also a risk on market acceptance, because again, from the exhibition today, everybody says, what's your price? What's your price? They're expecting us to be the lowest price supplier, okay? But we want to look beyond that, okay? Yes, price is important, but let's look a little bit beyond that, okay? And also there's a little bit of risk about maybe the NGOs or the EU, how they will look to the acceptance of palm wood. But we're quite confident that we have a very good story. We can back it up with facts. So we have the facts, we have the figures, we have the data. We can prove that we are a sustainable material. So what are the rewards? The rewards is that this business is scalable and sustainable, so we can grow. Okay. And also there's an additional revenue stream for the current oil palm business. So those are the good rewards. But how do we mitigate? How do we mitigate some of the risks? So one of the most important things is look at extensive ongoing R&D, okay, to make sure that we're continually improving all the time. And then the other thing is to change the narrative to sustainability, okay? So it's not just about costs, it's not just about the price. Let's talk about what's really, really important for the long term, and that's the environment. That's global warming, okay, reducing greenhouse gases, reducing deforestation. All these things are really, really important, and this is what we need to start talking about. So if we look at palm wood in particular, and how we're looking at achieving our net carbon zero, we look at the lifetime of the oil palm plantation. So it's basically absorbing CO2 continuously until it gets to the end of its life, where there's a little bit of emission as well with all the debris. Traditionally, the overmature palms are then just cut down and replanted. So during that process, a lot of bacteria, bugs, fungus, etc., breaks down the oil palm trunks, and not only releases CO2, but releases methane. And methane is 24 times more potent greenhouse gas than CO2. So it's bad to leave it to rot in the field. So what we do, we repurpose it, and we lock the carbon into furniture and other wood products. And even when it comes to the end of this life cycle, because it's dry, it doesn't need to go to the landfill. It can go and be chipped again and turned into wood pallets, okay, for renewable energy. So I think I've got less than 5 minutes left, so I'll try to go quite quickly. So these are just some statistics. Like I said, we have about nearly 6 million hectares of oil palm plantation in Malaysia alone. This is not including southern Thailand, Indonesia. It's equivalent to about 800 million trees replanted every 25 years. So conservatively, is 20 million OPTs replanted every year. In comparison, if we look at forest plantation, only 0.12 million hectares of plantation forests available in Malaysia. So that's why everybody's running around. What do we do? What do we do with EUDR? What do we do? Okay, forest reserve, yes, it's still significant, 4.35 million hectares. And rubber is in decline at only 0.8 million hectares. So OPT is available and sustainable. That's the bottom line. So again, in terms of climate mitigation, just to re-emphasize that we're looking at repurposing, replacing, reducing, and rethinking. So these are some of the key drivers that's motivating us to keep on going and try to mitigate what's happening in terms of climate change. Again, if we look at what motivates me and my team, it's the sustainability of the raw material. It's creating a material that can complement, enhance and substitute tropical timbers. It's something that can fight climate change by reducing deforestation. And then this one is also very important because IOI will not invest in IOI palmwood if it wasn't commercially viable. And if it's commercially viable, it's scalable. There's going to be more of it. It's going to grow. Okay, and then more material will be available for the furniture and timber industry in general. R&D opportunities to engineer new high-performance materials. Like I said, this technology is in its infancy. So I think we can develop even better materials, more better quality, more fitness for use. The other thing that's very important in what we're doing at IOI Palmwood is that we're moving away from the use of low-cost, unskilled migrant workers. So this is also really, really key to one of our principles at IOI Palmwood. We're looking at automation. We're looking at IR 4.0, okay? We're looking at the ways in which we can gather the data. We're looking at any way that we can cut out the labor factor in here. So we're not recruiting any low-cost foreign workers. Okay, we want to make sure that we have skilled, higher paid workers working at our factory. So again, this is a long-term strategy because we know of all the issues associated with workers' rights, foreign workers, etc., etc. So we have a zero foreign worker policy. The only foreigner working at IOI Palmwood is me. And maybe one day I'll also pass over to somebody else as well. Yeah. So anyway, this is just our purpose, vision and mission. Time's running out, I know. So we really do have a clarity of purpose, and we believe that this is the product of the future. It's sustainable, it ticks all the boxes, and we're looking forward to working with both Malaysian and international customers to promote this material. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fitch. So, because of the time constraint, we couldn't really have the Q&A section because it's already 1:46 and I have another slot waiting. But if you have any questions, you are always welcome to visit their booth, IOI Palmwood booth, which is at the entrance of Hall 4. So you can actually be seeing Mr. Peter and his team at that booth. So if you have any questions, just welcome to go over to their booth, okay? So, okay. So, yeah, here it is. Okay? So once again, thank you very much for the